Steph.
I'm Michael.
And this is Jason. Joining us today for Perseverance. Castaway Chronicles. We're just going to do episode 1 today.
Yeah. Episode 1. It comes with episode 1 and episode 2, right?
Yes.
And so, if after you watch this, you're not very intrigued by episode 1, which I think you will be, but if you're not, I hear episode 2 is even better.
And you can do a solo game.
Right. They have solo and they have a 2-player variant. But we think this will be far superior with 3 players. Therefore, we have asked Jason to come game with us.
Yes.
I'm here.
Mostly because Senor Azul does not have hands.
That's right.
He has hands, but they don't really do anything.
They fist bump.
They do fist bump. Jason knows the Senor Azul fist bump.
I met him.
So they're now tight.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Whatever you see here is the Kickstarter edition. So we have like the miniatures and we have whatever else was upgraded.
Any upgraded
I'm not
components?
really sure. There's a whole bunch in the box that I did not open.
Right. Oh, so there's episode 1,
Yes.
episode 2,
Yes.
and I think there's something called like hold on a second. There is another piece to it. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there is one more piece to it.
There's a whole bunch in the box. It's kind of hard to decipher.
Yes.
And a lot of rule books.
A lot. There's a lot of rule books.
There's like one for each chapter, one for the solo game.
The Chronicle expansion. There it is. I knew I would
it's like
find
a campaign, I think.
Yeah, something like that. So,
so
lots of goodness to be had.
Definitely something I want to do because dinosaurs.
So I play blue, and Jason plays blue, and so we had a blue conflict. But I'm wearing blue.
I lost. Oh, yeah.
It's true.
They need black.
No green. No.
They don't, yeah.
Green will be fine.
I'm wearing red, so you're the odd
But we
one out,
guarantee that there'll be at least one blue slip up where he will move a blue something or other.
Gotta do it.
Choose a blue die. It's going to happen.
Yeah, you gotta find it.
Michael has not rated the rulebook, so I don't think he's officially read through the rulebook.
So yeah, here's the thing. We learned this game from somebody at
Brian
the con. Yeah, Brian Mayer, who sounds just like Ryan Reynolds. So if you've heard Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool, you have heard Brian Mayer.
Also the designer of Freedom, the Underground Railroad.
Oh, is he? I did not know that. Wow. I want to play that.
It's a great
I've
game.
not played it yet, and
Yeah.
you've
Cool.
talked about how good it is. So
Yeah, it's great.
And we have it, so I want to play it.
Yeah, you'll like it.
And so Brian says, I think I've mostly got the rules, and then he got one big, huge rule wrong. So I'm gonna try I've not read the rule book. I've been taught by Brian.
Yeah, but it's like not that hard.
We'll see.
I'll be the judge of that.
He's seen a video twice, so
Watched it twice.
you can correct us when we're wrong.
Ugh, I don't.
Let's take a look at this fantastic game. So, as
so
you see,
big.
there's
so
a lot. I mean, I'm stretching to reach the top. Look at all the hands.
A lot of hands.
So, and I've got the rule book open so you can see the fantastic little player boards and miniatures that are going on right here.
Yes.
I mean, all of the different leaders they are slightly different colors than the other troops. Yeah, here's a heavy. So we've got the little tan ones, which are light infantry, and the heavy infantry, which are really dark, and the leaders, which are some sort of in the middle of the two. And there are removable bases, so this person does not have to be blue all the time. You can put whichever color base on it that you want. Ta-da!
I guess it's something to note that the player boards, there's like the double layer.
Yeah, recessed.
And we're using the recessed side, like you say, the side B, but we're not going to use the extra player power.
So we've got side A here that tells you all the things that you're supposed to get.
Yeah.
And this does not have double layer on this side. So we're going to use side B. It does have player powers down here, but we're going to ignore those. The reason we want to use it's for the fantastic double layer boards. Otherwise, each of these sides are the same because you guys know I'm the worst with bumping things off the tracks or whatever. So yeah, that's what we're going to do.
That's right.
So anyway, just in case you don't know about the lore of Perseverance, we are basically creating all sorts of settlements, of which we have already started our little pregame setup where we have each chosen one of these locations to have our settlements.
We're shipwrecked, right?
Yeah, I believe we're shipwrecked here. You can see all the little ship pieces all over. Well, here's the catch. This planet is overrun by dinosaurs. And so we're going to have dinosaurs appearing at the top of the map that are going to try to invade and ruin our settlements.
It's going to be great.
But then we can place walls and place traps and plant soldiers in order to try to repel any sort of dinosaur invasion.
True.
So that's what we are going to do. Bree says, oh no, not dinosaurs. Have I rated the rulebook? I've not rated the rulebook because I never did read the rulebook. So yeah. Oh yeah. How does Jason feel about that being the reason that he got invited? No, actually, Jason asked to come over, and we said, "Hey, we have a great game that you could play."
I said, "Do you want to come stream?" And then he's like,
confirm.
"Cool." And I'm like, he's like, "What do you want to play?" I'm like, whatever. And then I thought about this game. I'm like, "Oh, this game will be best with 3,
Right.
and if we're gonna have a third, that's awesome."
Right, because with 2 players, you've got to add in another color of dice, and then you start using dissenters, which it's going to be, I guess, players that are not on either side, and they're going to cause problems. You know what? It's probably just going to be better 3 players.
Yeah.
So, now, that's not to say it's not good 2 players, but
yeah,
he wanted to play a game. We wanted him to play a game.
And it's good to replay this like a week later, because otherwise, if we waited much longer,
We would forget. Yes. Now, the Kickstarter also comes with these big, chunky metallic bits, which is why we really want the dual layer boards. Matter of fact, I can't even get it off the side here. Ta-da! Look at see? He's shaking them around, and they're like coins, right?
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, they're nice.
So they're
like a Star
really good
Trek
quality.
symbol.
Yeah, it does.
It really does. So we've got our strength, and we've got our, what is this called? I want to make sure to give you guys the right terminology going on here. Let's see. This is called Valor. This, what are these called, Steph? Help me out. Safeguard tracker tokens. We've got our vote token, and on the back of the vote token, you turn it over, it says 10. And then if you have this on it, it's plus 20, even though it doesn't say plus 20.
Yeah, you can keep getting extra and extra and extra.
Right.
But I mean, I don't see how you're ever gonna get that much. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to get that much, I'll tell you that.
because you lose it at the end of each like round or whatever.
Right. At the end of each voting, then
Yeah.
they go away.
So it's like really hard to acquire it. But maybe.
And
in
if
the
you
second
acquire a
game-
bunch, not necessarily a good thing, because that's the other stuff you could have been doing.
don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It'll be great.
That's straight up points.
So for those of you who wonder about player colors, they've got red, yellow, green, and blue.
Solid. I like that.
I like that.
I
So
probably
we're not
should've given
using
you
yellow. Do you want yellow?
I'm going to make green work.
I'm gonna make it work.
Yeah, make it work.
So we've got all sorts of different dice. There are plenty of neutral dice that are just white. There are dice for every player color. Oh, look, the green even shows up.
Amazing.
And there are these big, chunky.
They're really big.
I like your little green screen thing over. That's pretty slick.
Yeah, we love
That's
it.
pretty
Yeah,
smart.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well done, y'all.
Well,
We're in the South,
Thanks.
so
Y'all.
that's how we say it. Y'all.
So we've got wall dice and trap dice and a normal dino die and a dangerous dino die.
More dinos.
Yes.
All the dinos.
All the dinos. And then the threat die is that big chunky red one. We're gonna keep these. Whoa.
We don't need that one yet anyway.
No, I'll just throw those over by you.
Yeah.
Now that I've actually shown them off, you can be the keeper
we will
of the
need
dice.
that one.
So
We'll likely need that one.
at the start of the game, you need to set up everything with all of your stats trackers to 0, except your followers. You should set this to 10. Now, if you notice on a normal tracker, you do your 10s on one side and your 1s on the other side. But wait, hey, look, we can go above the normal numbering. So you can have 140, 150 followers.
That's a lot.
We didn't have that many.
Well, we didn't.
I think I ended with like 20 something. Yeah. So yeah, since we were taught wrong, we abandoned the game partway through. So But we think we know enough to teach everybody.
Not that hard. That's
no.
what I'm saying.
No, it is not that hard. So we'll see. I'll be the judge
It's
of that.
just dice worker placement.
We have selected 2 single-stage patrol cards. Now, patrol cards we'll get into later. Just know that when you're setting up, you need a single-stage patrol card.
There are double.
There are patrol cards with 2 different halves to them. If you draw one of those, take it out. So we've got different challenge cards. We've got challenge cards that are for light challenges, for light infantry going into these patrols, and we have heavy challenge cards for whenever you send the heavy infantry.
Yeah.
So we've got all of our dinosaurs. This version comes with fantastic little dino standees, just like that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of punch outs if we don't want that.
Yep. They're basically the great big chonky ones. What are those called? They're called tramplers.
That's when it's bigger than chunky. It's chunky.
It's chonky. And we have basically what everyone basically calls the Velociraptor, right? And it's going to be the one that it's going to.
I think the rulebook calls it the raptor.
Yeah, it is a raptor.
It is a
Oh,
raptor.
there you go.
That's probably why they call it that.
That might be.
It's a raptor.
Well, I mean, since the Jurassic Park time, everyone calls it. That's a Velociraptor.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the miniatures are super awesome. It looks like they are cardboard and standee if you get the retail version. As you can see upside down on the rule book here, I believe that's what. Oh, does it come in the deluxe too?
Them, yeah.
But you also get these fantastic miniatures. Now they're not painted, but they do look really nice.
Yeah, that's uncool. They should be painted.
That's right. So we have a bunch of food and scrap and story tokens. Let's see if we can get an example of each of these. So we have story tokens that look like a little thought bubble. We've got our scrap tokens, which look like a bunch of tools, and we have our food tokens, which look like amazing.
If you just leave it over my head the whole time, like I'm thinking.
Yeah,
There we go.
This is speaking out loud.
Steph's story time.
What do you
right
have to say
there.
about that, Steph?
Oh, I love dinosaurs. Thank you.
Permanent speech bubble.
Yeah, it's great.
It is
It's my story time.
We have 1 die for each player, plus for 3 players, we have 8 of the neutral dice.
Yes.
So
I'm green.
you are green. And he has to remind himself of that over and over because
I'm green.
everyone, yes.
It's true.
So, you're not going to use all the influence cubes. You're going to be given a number of influence cubes that look amazingly just like all the other cubes that you're going to find in games like this. You should only have 15, not 25. Leave 10 of them in the box. They will be used for episode 2. We each are also given 7 wall markers, 12 of these cool pyramid-shaped settlements, and several traps, 8 trap markers. Now, these traps can be set to either catch the tramplers or the raptors. So,
Yep.
and when you place them, you're going to place them face down so that nobody knows what you have placed the trap to catch. And there's a reason for whether you want to lay one down versus another. We also have all of these officers that are assigned to each of these 4 zones. We have the sustenance zone over to the left that has places where you can get rations, go out on patrol, go to the pub. And
that's
so
my favorite.
That's your favorite area. There you go. So then you get the chief mate, who is the main officer over that area. You've got your training area, your military area, where you do all your training. And obviously you have the chief of security in that zone. Now, these are the suggested first plays. You can mix them up, mix and match however you want them. But for the first play, they recommend doing it this way. You have the expansion area where you do your politics and your supply action and your settle action. And you've got the chief steward as the officer there. And finally, you've got the protection area where you can do salvage missions or fortification missions where you're doing walls and traps in these areas. And the chief engineer is the chief officer for that location. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. The last thing you really have to do with setup, other than what everyone starts with, 1 food, 1 scrap, 2 stories, and 1 light soldier. And here's the downfall of where we learned the rules wrong. Brian gave us all the soldiers. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that, because then nobody takes this training action, and since nobody takes this action, the dinosaurs don't build up here, and they build up everywhere else, and they attack Steph's area repeatedly.
Over and over and over.
Yes, and she was getting frantic there for a minute. I'm like, I'm building walls. I don't know what you're worried about.
It's fine.
The last thing that you need to do before doing all of the setup with choosing which areas that you take in reverse player order. So since Jason is first, then you got to choose. You got to choose your settlement first. Then I chose. Then Jason chose, taking green. The other thing that you have to do is you have to take 3 of these Dino Attack combat rewards. Draw 3 of these at random. They have numbers up in the corner that will allow you to make 3 of these unavailable for this game. Sort of randomizes things so that there are certain rewards that are not going to be available.
They are available if
not easily available.
Not if the dinosaurs are. If you protect yourself.
Yes.
From the dinosaurs attacking.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. But for setup purposes.
I like that they provided a random number generator in the card.
Yes.
That's really funny.
Yeah, and that's what those are. That's what those are used for. Hey,
randomly put 3 out, or check the upper right-hand corner of the cards.
That's right.
There.
This game also comes. Oh yeah, absolutely. This game comes with this cool little dice tray. It is just basically a big squishy piece of fabric that has little snaps on it, and you can either have it this way,
yeah, it's a Kickstarter,
or
extra stretch goal.
The back side, but it snaps better this way here. It's just the way that it snaps. It works better like this. And this is a good place. So like you could roll all your dice and not mess up everything that you've got out here, because there's going to be all sorts of stuff out there. So look at that. A lot of different sides to the dice. Anyway, let's talk about each of these areas and what you can do. So, as I mentioned, you're going to have 3 different resources: food, scrap, and stories. You're going to collect these and then spend them as you need them. You might need food to collect more soldiers, or scrap to get heavy soldiers. And this hopefully will help Jason. No, you've actually watched a video. You know a little bit about what's going on with this.
Just enough to be dangerous.
Stories can be gotten at the pub, and then you can spend those stories to increase followers. You know, as stories are told of your brave deeds, you can get more followers coming in. Or you can have a thought bubble like Steph. There's Safeguard and Valor. That's representing your brave deeds. Those are tracked on your player board, as you can see over here, and that's going to help. That's going to help you to, whenever you get Dino rewards, whenever you've successfully defended against dinos, you get to choose more and more of those rewards if you can spend those. The Schmiggle says, "Let's kill some dinos." Hello, Slivers.
Yeah.
So, and then to perform well during assemblies that are going to be held every now and then, you have to collect votes. And that's by this little peace sign symbol. That's the symbol for votes. You're going to track those votes as you go. You can, although Safeguarded Valor max out at 6, you can never have more than that. You can have as many number of votes as you can collect, though. Since you're just basically collecting votes against the other 2 of us, you probably don't want to collect a great, huge number of votes. When we were playing, I think Steph got above 10 once.
I got a lot of votes, but I wanted points.
You did want points.
I was going for points.
Now, what are points? Basically, Sliver says, is there any dino DNA? No
That's a different
DNA.
dinosaur game.
So, what are points? How many followers you can get to follow you. That's points. Now, you can spend followers, so that's why we start at 10. Slivers votes for Steph. You already have one follower.
And Shanna voted for me too.
Oh my goodness. That's just rigged. So most followers at the end of the game wins. If effects will cause you to lose more followers than you have, you lose down to 0. Ignore the rest. So what do we do? What we're going to do on our turn is we're going to resolve a primary action by placing a die and then placing dinos if necessary and doing whatever the primary action is. Then you're going to do a secondary action. A lot of times it's going to be involving these officers down here. Then you're going to do a patrol card stage, which only applies if you have one of these 2 patrol cards in front of you. And then the end of turn checks, which involves checking to see if any of these areas have filled up, and that's going to trigger a dino attack. Then, if there are no dice remaining, hey, guess what? It's time for an assembly turn.
Yay.
And that's where we're going to need all of those votes in order to get what we want. So, the primary actions are going to be taken out in these community areas of the board. And on your turn, you're always going to take one primary action. What you're going to do is you're going to choose an effect in the community area, take a die from the pool and put it on any empty die space of that effect. You can choose any of the dice to place, but if you choose someone else's die, Jason, I'm playing blue, then you are going to lose 2 followers. If you choose a neutral die or your own die, you do not lose followers. But if you choose someone else's die, you must lose 2 followers.
That's like 2 points.
Now, there are a lot of 2-player rules that I am not going to go into in these rules. If you're playing 2 players, there are nice little areas that are indented that says 2-player rules on it. And you will definitely want to read each of those carefully. If possible, you must place your die on a matching icon space within the effect. Now, you see how I've got book, nothing over here. If I chose one of these book dice, I must place it on one of those book areas.
If you're going into that section.
If I'm going to that section, now if I'm going to this section, then I don't have to place a book on there. If there's no matching die placement spaces that are empty, you can place it on an empty space with no icon instead. So, in order to place here, you must place that. If you are placing this, it must be placed here. You can place the backpack here after these are covered.
Right.
But once this is covered, you can only place the backpack there.
Correct.
So, hopefully that clears that up. So that can sometimes be a little bit confusing for people. And there's another catch. You cannot place a die to just block a space to prevent someone else from using that space.
Got to take the action.
You have to be able to take the action. Picking at least one valid option. Now, you don't have to be able to do everything here, but you have to be able to do something there. Now, of course, taking a story point, yes, that is valid. So, of course, you would do it.
Sure.
But just know that you cannot just blindly block people just for the heck of it. So, immediately after you place a die, you are going to follow from top to bottom any dino or die roll actions associated with the space. Now, you'll notice, well, you might not notice, because it's really, really small here. If you were to place a book icon, book die here, you are going to have to place one of the trampler dinos. No, that is a raptor. The raptors are in blue, and the raptors are in green, and the tramplers are in blue.
And the raptors are skinny and small.
Yes. So you're going to place, if I were to choose this one, I would place a trampler and then a raptor in order. Notice there are arrows up there, so you're going to place them in order. If there's no space to put them, like Steph just pointed to on that 5th space there is nothing placed there. So you're just going to place them on the spots where you can place dinos. If the icon shows a die roll like this, you'll notice that there's a die roll spot here. First, I'm going to place the trampler, and then I'm going to roll the die. And that is usually going to place more dinos on the space. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for. You'll notice you might place one dino or another. There are some particularly bad ones that will place multiple dinos. There's even the dangerous dino die, which is in yellow, and it's going to make you place
Even more.
even worse. It's never more than 2. Well, no, never more than 3. But you'll notice there are a lot more 2s and 3s on this dice than on the white die.
This die only comes up once there's been a breach after the first time.
Yeah, so if the area is dangerous, you're going to roll the dangerous dino die instead. Now, how does an area become dangerous? If an area has had a dino breach, what we're going to do is Steph is going to remove this and going to remove the corresponding community area. And ta-da, there are now more spaces for dinos to go on and more spaces for us to be able to place community things in. Danger dice would come with theme music. Yes, they should come with theme music.
Yeah, so as soon as that opens up, we roll the yellow die.
Yeah, and you'll notice that you'll notice that the little danger icon,
a tiny little icon.
it's tiny. So keep that in mind, and it's easy to forget whether to roll a normal die or a danger die. The icon shows both, so hopefully you'll think, oh, which of these am I supposed to be rolling?
Also hard to see.
So,
It's tiny.
if you have to place more dinos, then there are spaces available. Hey, you get to ignore the rest. That's the best.
Yeah, sure.
If there is a trap on a space where a dino's to be placed, let's say I've placed this trap over there on that first space.
Woo!
Hopefully, either Steph can read my mind and end up placing a dino that I want placed on that trap. Hopefully it matches, because let's think about it. You're going to catch tramplers and raptors different ways, all right?
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows. Everybody
Sure.
knows this.
Sure.
You might catch an opposite type dinosaur with that trap,
Yeah.
but you might not. Probably not. So hopefully Steph will place something down, or if nobody places anything there, hey,
You'll
that
have
gives
the
me a little bit of
chance.
advantage. I can help
Yeah.
protect the world by placing the right dinosaur on that spot. So
But even still, you might not roll it correctly.
you
Because you have to roll a trap die.
Yeah, that'll come up here in a bit.
Yeah.
So just put the dino on top of that trap token, and then you're going to gain the benefits of whatever chosen effect after you put the dinosaurs on there. So if I've put a die out here, I'm going to go ahead and get 2 rations after that. So, and we'll talk about each of the areas as we can go ahead and talk about it now. So we have the sustenance zone. Like I said, rations is 2 food.
Yep.
The patrol area, you get to take one of the 2 patrol cards over there and place it next to your player board. If you already have a patrol card in front of you, you cannot resolve the patrol effect. So meaning you can't throw a couple of these down on a turn just to try to collect more cards and also shut out everybody else. You must be able to also fulfill the soldier requirements on your patrol card. If you can't, then you can't even choose the effect. You'll notice that on this one, I'm going to need 2 or more soldiers of either type, either light or heavy. Let's see here. What else do we got? And then you assign those soldiers to the card. In whatever combinations that it says, you can choose to send up to 8 soldiers in total. Unfortunately, since we are not starting off with the Brian Mayer rule, we do not have 8 soldiers to start out with. And if you assign a soldier to a patrol card, you cannot reassign it. Let's say you assign soldiers to that card, and then you take a second, it's another secondary action that lets you place soldiers out somewhere. Nope, you can't do it. The Schmigel says that only I'm going to get this one to the table again. Oh no! Did you already try the Schmigels?
Sounds like it.
And the last thing you can do down here is the pub, and that's where you're going to gain a story plus stories that equal the total number of your color player dice on the main board and in the pool area.
No beer. No beer.
No, you're telling stories. You can't collect beer. You can.
Different game.
I'm not a dinosaur.
So let's talk a little bit about resolving these patrols. What's going to happen is the first thing that's going to happen. This is different from what you would normally expect, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get all those rewards on this stage. That usually doesn't happen in most games. Usually you fight the patrol, you get the reward. No. You get the rewards. And then what you're going to do is you're going to draw a challenge card for each soldier you put on this patrol card. Whoops. Here are all the different cards, and you're going to draw them. Sorry.
It's only if the reward gets you a card.
What?
This one doesn't get you a card, so you don't draw cards.
Yes, if the current stage shows challenge cards, you're going to draw a challenge card for each soldier, and then you are going to get to keep as many as it shows on the card. And then you're going to get the rewards of those challenge cards. You might think, oh, challenge cards, that's supposed to be the challenge. No, that's the easy part. That's the rewards part. Then what you're going to do is you'll have to roll the threat die for each roll that you have on here or on the challenge cards. The better the reward you get, the harder the threat is going to be. And so you're going to roll the threat die. Which
is huge.
Yeah, it's the big chonky D6. And you have to roll a number lower than the threat on the card. Not equal to or lower, explicitly lower than. And if you roll a number lower than the threat, no, you have to roll. Sorry about that. If you roll lower, a soldier is lost. If you roll equal to or higher, you get it without losing a soldier.
The cards say it.
The cards will say it on there. It's fairly easy to figure out. I'm going to get these two rewards. And then when I roll the die, if I roll less than a 2, what happens? That's a big death head right there. So
is that bad?
Death for a light soldier.
Yeah.
So, oh no, death for whatever soldier. These are the heavy cards.
So you have to kill a heavy soldier.
Yes. Yeah, if you're drawing the heavy cards, you have to kill a heavy soldier. So, shuffling those up. If at least one soldier survives the first stage of a 2-stage card, you can choose to move on. There's usually a threat roll going from one stage to the next, and then you get to keep going. So, then you're going to reshuffle all the challenge ones, the challenge cards, whether or not you kept them. So you'll always have the same number of challenge cards available to you. If I ended up getting the good one, which I don't know if there is a good one, then Steph could still end up getting that same good one on her turn.
It's probably worth leaving those.
And you're going to keep this completed patrol card face down in front of you because it might be relevant to some kinds of scoring things. Yes.
Like here.
Yes, exactly.
Important for you. Yep. If you're going to go for the majorities there.
So in the military zone, that has one major effect. What? Training new soldiers. Gain a light soldier, spend a food to gain a light soldier, spend a scrap to gain a heavy soldier, spend a story to convert 2 light soldiers to heavy.
So when you go there, you do 3 of these, different
you'll know
things.
3 times different. You can do 3 different things. Spend 1 story to place up to 2 soldiers from your player board onto any defense area.
Yeah, that's good.
And gain a story. So there is. That's the easy one.
Yeah, when you place up here, you get immediate rewards. So
yeah, you'll notice that up there you've got your valor and your safeguard numbers, so you can immediately get those and track them on your player board. In the expansion zone, you've got politics, a super awesome area. Pick one of the following. If there is at least 1 neutral die in the pool, then you can replace it with one of your player dice. Set it to the same face, and then gain 1 follower for each of your player dice that you have in play, including the one you just created.
So 2 would
be
the first time.
Basically increasing your political prowess in that area, getting more followers along the way.
That's good.
Or you can spend a food and a story to replace a neutral die on the main board with one of your player dice.
Maybe there's no more neutral in the bin, or maybe you're trying to gain control of a region.
Yes. So dice and settlements in these regions will let you gain control of those regions. So if you're big on area control, this has a lot of that in it.
Or at least some.
The replaced die does not trigger any sort of dino effects. The replaced die does not give you any effects. It's basically good for getting the control over those areas.
Just the color.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Or you could take the supply, which is a scrap and a food, or you can take the settle action. Hey, what do you think it's going to be for this? Everybody.
You're going to put a settlement
Gonna put a settlement down. It's pretty good. You're gonna spend a food to place a settlement into any community and then receive the settlement bonus, which is whatever you see going up the track. You do not have to place these from top to bottom. Alternatively, you could take this second action down here, which is to spend a story and a scrap and a food and place a settlement into different community areas. Here's the catch. You can only gain the community bonus of the first settlement you place. The second settlement you place must be placed on the bottommost space in that other area.
and you don't get the reward.
And either you don't get here there is no reward. This would be the bottommost here.
Yep.
In these you would not get that other reward. So be careful where you want to place. If you really want to get the votes, maybe you want to place here for your first one and then place wherever for your second freebie one. But keep in mind, you do not have to build these from top to bottom for that first one you place.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Laura. I don't know who Laura is. Who's Laura?
Laura doesn't know who you are.
Wow.
So Laura
Friends
is she is on Meeple Grande. They do a stream, yeah.
Cool.
Last but not least, one of my favorite zones is the protection area. Oh, there are various icons on here. We will not explain each and every one of them, but basically they might let you place cubes down or give you votes or give you more infantry or give you food.
All the things.
It's always good
And
stuff.
generally,
And
the
it's even
higher you
better.
go, the more likely the reward is much better.
Well, here's the catch. Why do you think dinosaurs called tramplers are called tramplers?
So they
I
go.
bet they destroy your settlements.
That's exactly right. And they're going to destroy them from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Anti-settlement.
safer at the bottom, but you get less.
Crappy little,
yeah.
yes.
That's pretty cool.
Isn't that Dino Corleone's protection area?
Dino Corleone.
Nice.
Because they love trampolines, duh.
What? Boingy, boingy, boingy. My favorite area is the protection
You didn't
area.
put your settlement over in your favorite area.
Yeah.
I
what's up?
did not.
What's up with that?
Maybe I'm doing a little sneaky trick. You can get.
Sounds
Look at them looking at each other. It's like, huh?
This guy.
You could get 2 scrap in the salvage area, or you can build traps and walls in the fortifications area. For fortifications, you pick up to 2 different options from this list here.
They're different, or just
You
do
pick-
2 things?
Two
Do 2
different.
Have to be
different
different.
things.
There's a little slash. It's really hard
Oh,
to
okay.
see, but
Gotcha.
It's an equal sign with a red slash through
I
it.
see
It's,
it now. Yeah.
it's a real thin slash.
you gotta go really
Quite-
close to see
It's
it.
quite tiny. Yeah.
Place 1 trap in any empty dino space of any defense area. Now notice it doesn't have to be that first spot. It could be the last spot.
Yeah.
And giving me time to, time that trap exactly when I want it, etc. Or you can spend a food to place one of your traps face down on an empty space of any defense area and gain a valor. But you got to spend the food for that. For a scrap, you can place a wall into any of the defense areas. Notice you're going to place them up
Like,
there.
Boom.
And finally, you can spend a story and a scrap to place a wall on an empty wall space and gain 2 followers. So it depends on if you have the extra story to spend.
I do. It's right over my face.
I could look at my traps I place at any time. Nobody else can look at that trap.
Maybe I want to.
Maybe you want to. Let's see here. You cannot choose the same option twice, but that doesn't mean you can't play 2 traps or 2 walls. Now, notice how these dinos are and how these walls are and how these little soldier spaces are. When the dinos attack, they're going to attack down each column. So make sure you place your soldiers and your walls where exactly you want them.
They don't know how to run diagonally.
No, they run straight. Straight down the line.
I was placing my walls like this, making the worst wall that's ever been made.
He said he was placing it like this instead of up like this,
they're much better
which would
when
be
they're taller.
They're much better when they have something to,
Yeah.
To
you
be
know,
fair,
holding it up.
It's better to stream when they're down like this.
Oh, that's probably true.
Worst walls of all time. Go to the green player.
Oh, that's me, right?
I wish.
So, remember I said you take a primary action? Well, then you're going to take a secondary action. You could spend your secondary action to influence an officer. Choose one of these officers, then spend 0 or 2 or 4 stories to place 1 or 2 or 3 influence cubes on these officers.
Thankfully, you have a lovely playwright to tell you
That's fantastic.
all the secondary action stuff.
Or you can place soldiers. Place 1 or 2 soldiers from your player board onto empty soldier spaces in these cool defense areas. Obviously, if you place it in the top row space, you're going to get a Valor. If you put it on the bottom, you're going to get a Safeguard. Which of these soldiers do you think is going to get attacked first?
The one in front.
That's right, the one in front.
Behind the wall.
If you don't want to get eaten, be the one in the back.
Still might get eaten, but
You still might get eaten. Or you can place your leader on a leader space of a community area. Notice these spots with the stars on it. Those are leader spaces. You can only do this if your leader's not already on the main board. Let's say I did this earlier. I cannot just pick her up and move her. Actually, no, I have a him. I cannot move him at any time I want. There are actually actions that allow you to do so, but you can't just do it just whenever you want to do it.
And it gives you presence for that region.
It does. It's more presence. The more blue spots I've got out here, the more control I'm going to have over that area. So, whenever you place your leader in that community area, you can resolve any one effect in that zone. If I place over here, I can do 3 of these trainings as you normally would. It's just you get to do 1 of these effects in the zone. Or you can even place a leader in a defense area, and you do get the bonuses just like if you had placed a soldier up there. Here's the cool thing. Your leader never dies.
Don't die.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
So,
It's really good. If you know a raptor's coming in, you'd be like, leader can take it.
right. So here's a question that I have, Steph, and I'm not sure you would know the answer to it. For the secondary action, I thought you had to choose the officer that matched up with your area. I don't see that here. It says influence an officer. Choose 1 target officer.
Yeah, it's the same officer. If you're choosing multiple cubes, they all go on the same one.
That's not my question. My question is, I have spent my primary action for this sustenance zone, and
Sure.
I have taken 2 food for rations.
Sure.
For my secondary action, I thought I could only choose this chief mate. But I think the case is
No, that's not true.
I can choose any one of these 4
And put your cubes on.
and put my
that way.
cubes on.
Yeah.
All right, well, I did not fully. Now I know that as I'm going through the rules with these fine people. Notice that these officers have 4 influence spaces that fill up from left to right. You're going to fill these up as they fill up. I'm going to try to say this correctly. As they fill up. Now notice, now Jason's got more influence than I have on there.
True.
There's a scoring condition at the bottom of each of these. And what's going to happen is if you would place more influence cubes than free influence spaces, first fill the spaces as much as you can, and then move all the other influence cubes up to the influence pool. Then keep filling up the now empty influence spaces.
Yeah.
So each officer has the different scoring condition. This is basically going to be the goals if you get first or second place in an area.
So if this just happened, if you have 2 or more cubes in there, you get a food. So you would get 1 food for your troubles.
Right. Does first and second place get that, or just first?
If you both had 2 cubes, you would both get a food.
Oh, so this is when the assembly is triggered.
the assembly.
You're talking about the officer bonus. So yeah, for the officer bonus, whenever all 4 spaces are filled with influence cubes, players with at least 2 cubes on those spaces will immediately get that bonus. So if I had 2 and Jason had 2, we would both get a food.
Correct.
So, and that's the only way you can get 4 on there. I mean, to get, and it would be both of us to get it because we would, if he has 3 and I have 1, no food for Mikey. So
No food for you.
no food for you. So let me make sure I get this right. So yeah, this is going to give influence for this scoring condition when the assembly pops up. At the end of a player's turn, if all the dino spaces in one zone are completely full, the dino attack is triggered. If both an assembly and a dino attack trigger at the end of a player's turn, you do the dino attack first because you're not going to hold the vote and tell the dinos to wait. Think about it. Which one could you do? Can you tell the dinos to wait or the vote to wait?
Yeah.
I think we can tell the vote to wait.
Yeah.
So, what you're going to do is you're going to roll first for the traps. You're going to roll to see whether the trap is actually a success. So, if you see the little dino symbol, the little dino skull, that means you've killed the dino with that trap. And look, hey, additionally, I'm going to get a little safeguard token.
Yeah.
Even better if I can get multiple of the tokens, or even better yet, where is that thing? I believe there is.
I think it's this trap. That's a trap die.
Oh, this is the trap. I'm like, where is this?
I think
Where's
you were
the
rolling
followers?
what the wall die you were explaining.
I was indeed explaining the wall die. So the wall die does give the safeguards, but first you check for traps, and you can get followers if for some reason your trap stops the dino. It makes thematic sense.
Yep.
You're gonna get followers if you were successful. Now, even if you weren't successful, it's like, oh, that was a good try. You're gonna get 2 followers.
Thumbs up.
But hey, you're not gonna catch that dino. Most of these faces do show a dino being caught. There's some of them that have the little check mark by it. You might think that's better, but no, that's actually a little bit worse. That means if your trap matches the dino,
Then he's caught.
then he's caught. Notice it's a check mark and a triangle, and the traps look like triangles. So, and you will get some followers.
Yep.
So they're basically called success if it's a match, success anyway, or fail anyway. Are the 3 different sides for that. Then you're going to do the wall phase. You're going to roll the wall die for each wall, left to right. The wall's owner is going to gain followers or safeguard tokens. If the roll shows a dino skull icon, you remove the dino closest to the wall in this wall's corner and column, and you're going to put it in front of that wall owner as a defeated dino. Why are we keeping these defeated dinos? Because of the dinosaur reward bonuses that are going to be coming up. I told you they were going to shift as we did all this. So we've got the 3 of them covered up. If there is a breach, meaning your community starts getting destroyed, you cannot take rewards that have the X on them. If there was no breach, you could take any reward, and you are trying to kill dinos in order to get better and better rewards. You can take multiple of these awards, assuming you have the Valor and Safeguard points to spend on them. So, after the wall phase, you're going to have the fight phase. That's where we're going to have people fighting up here. Light soldiers, they're going to defeat any one dino. Heavy soldiers are going to defeat up to 2 dinos simultaneously. Here's the catch. Raptors will defeat the soldier they were fighting. Leaders always defeat 2 dinos. Leaders can never be defeated.
Woo!
That's awesome. Now, keep in mind, a heavy soldier can defeat any 2 dinos, even 2 raptors. But guess what's going to happen to that heavy soldier?
He did.
Nom, 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 nom. Then you topple all the defeated soldiers. You leave them in place. If they were defeated, let's say that the leader can never be defeated. What am I talking about? So let's say that happened. You still leave those there. Let's see. And leave all of everything in place for just a second. Then you're going to do the breach phase. If the defense failed and there's still undefeated dinos coming across, like through this column, then the breach happens. Tramplers will breach. For each breaching trampler, you're going to remove the topmost settlement. Then the raptors breach. For each breaching raptor, they will attack a different settlement, proceeding from top to bottom, and players are going to lose 2 followers if their settlement gets attacked by a raptor. They don't destroy the building, they destroy your people. So, there is a penalty for whoever triggered the dino attack. If you were the active player, you're going to lose 2 followers for each breaching dinosaur because it was her fault. I didn't use you as the example that time, Jason.
It'll be me that actually does it in the game.
Again, there's a nice player for the dino attack.
Well, sometimes you have to think, is it worth triggering the dino attack and maybe losing followers? I mean, I know I set some walls up there. Maybe they don't breach.
It might be fun.
It might be fun.
It's fine.
It's fine. Then we clean up, returning all the breaching dinos to the supply. Then we're going to get all of our combat rewards like I showed you on the thing under this dice tray. You're going to sum up all of the pieces in the defense area to determine each player's contribution. And you're going to choose your picks and everything. Only the player with the highest contribution can choose the same pick twice. They can pick the same one twice, but then can't choose it again. Everybody else can pick each one once. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like I can go 2 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1. You guys could just go 1 and 1 and 1 and 1.
Thanks for following Avocado.
Yeah, thanks, Avocado Robot. And you've got to be able to spend the Valor or Safeguard tokens. And you can opt out of picking a reward. I mean, that's going to happen because I usually never had enough rewards for anything. Some of these rewards will hinge on how many dinosaurs you've killed. Spend 3 Valor, and for every trampler you killed, you get 1 follower, or kill a raptor and get 2 followers. So some of these are going to stack up based on how many dinosaurs you used. For this one, spend a Valor and a Safeguard, and then for each wall that was involved, you're going to get 2 followers. I mean, all of these, pretty good rewards. The book, I believe, has all of the iconography in it. It's right here, Dino Combat Attack Rewards, and it will tell you exactly what each of those are. I'm not going to go into it in detail, but just know that is what you do after that. You're going to sum up all of your pieces, walls and soldiers and everything, and traps. That's why you don't take the traps away, because you need those to determine how was your personal defense in this area.
True.
So, let's see here. Then we're going to do the retrieve phase. We return all of these that are toppled off board. We're going to return our leader back to our board. If this was the first time the zone was attacked, Steph is going to remove all of the stuff to make it a dangerous area. All the defeated dinos are gone, leaving the walls in place. Used face-up traps cannot be used again, but there is a Chief Engineer scoring condition that will score based on traps that have been used.
Cool.
Very important.
Or that are in play.
I don't think I have that. I'll give that back to you.
Sure.
Time for more board game chapstick.
Yeah.
And
I gotta get ready.
I need some board game chapstick. I need a Coke, actually. I'll have to get one of those in a minute. So, an assembly's trigger when there's no more dice in the dice pool. What's going to happen is we are going to check out number of votes and everything. First thing we're going to do, know that the population of a zone is 2 plus the total number of settlements of any color in that zone's community area. I believe this is shown.
What are we looking for?
I'm not. It's talking about the population of a zone. It's 2 plus the total number of settlements. A zone's population can provide votes during an assembly. Oh, I think it might be. Oh, it's the opposite side of this one.
Yeah.
So I don't think we need it for ours because we've got this on the easy side.
No, it's when if you have control of an area, you take the token and decide what you want.
And then everyone else gets the opposite.
That's right.
And
I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the second place person gets the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
Divide by 2.
And I don't think we did that correctly with Brian.
Right.
Is
Divide
the
by 2
plus the number is how many population that there is. Anyway, a presence in a zone is equal to the number of pieces of that color in the zone. Ignore everything in the defense area. Just this area down here.
Just settlements.
Just settlement
And
stuff.
leaders?
And dice.
And leaders and
and
dice.
dice. Right, yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Absolutely. So, First, you're going to check majorities and distribute the assembly reward tiles for each zone. Now, these are the assembly reward tiles. Notice that these rewards will match the area. So, and if 2 players tie, then each tied player will get votes equal to half the zone's population instead of the tile. If more than 2 players tie, guess how much you get? Nothing. You get nothing. Good taste, sir.
How about nothing?
No fun for you. No fun had here.
Dang it.
So, if more than 2 players tie, don't do that.
Dang
Don't
it.
do it.
Each player with 1 or more assembly reward tiles, once you get all these, you're going to choose to either receive production or votes for each one.
Likely votes.
Well, votes are good, but you might be short on food. I did that actually in our game. I was short on scrap, I think it was, and I wanted more scrap. So
He knew he was losing the votes. That's why he took scrap.
I also knew I was losing the votes. That is true, because Steph had 87 million
I had
votes.
1,000 votes.
So you're going to do this secretly and simultaneously. You're going to hold all of your tiles there, and you're going to then show what you've chosen for all of them.
Yeah.
If you choose production, you get the zone's production twice. If you choose votes, you get votes equal to the population of the zone, which is settlements plus 2. Not pieces plus 2, settlements plus 2. Oh, yeah, there it is. 2 votes plus settlements goes to votes. Yeah, I think we did do it right.
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Pretty sure. The player with the second highest presence in each zone will get half of the reward that was not picked. This can be either a single production or half the votes rounded down.
Yeah.
If you are tied for second highest presence, you get nothing. Womp womp.
Bub kiss.
Get the little Pac-Man sound in there. Then you're going to check the vote track of each player. If your name is Steph, you're probably going to win the votes. Especially since there's 2 players out there that are already voting for Steph. And then you're going to choose.
Do they count? Those count?
That's it.
They count.
I don't know. They might count.
Plus live stream votes.
Wait a second, Steph. Did I do that or did you?
You did that.
Wait a second.
You rearranged everything.
Wait a second,
Michael,
You rearranged everything.
you got the potential, man. You just don't use it.
I'm a failure. Oh, this is right. How Steph had it was right.
I did it right.
Good job, Steph.
And then Michael.
No, I didn't. It was that way. I thought it was opposite in here because I'm looking. I'm seeing.
Jelfia.
I'm seeing the 21, 17, 17. I was like, as though it goes down, but no, it does not. Yeah, Jelfia.
Goes down.
Nobody votes for
I know,
Jason. He's a new
Guest
timer.
votes, newcomer votes. Somebody, anybody.
Anybody?
Nobody giving even pity votes. Come on.
No.
Fine, I'll do this on my own.
That's fine. Somebody will.
Somebody will. Thank you.
Ridiculous.
Don't mess up the camera, Steph.
Well, don't put the drink there.
So, you're going to receive first place in votes is going to get 14 followers. Second place is going to get 6. Third player is going to get a pat on the back.
Yay.
Yay.
Me.
All right. Are you anticipating something? See, even 4 player, you get something for third place.
Well, yeah.
3 player?
But fourth place doesn't get anything.
Oh, 4th place indeed gets nothing.
Bubkiss.
Bubkiss.
I get a half a vote.
Sorry, new guy. Didn't know your name.
I'll give you half vote.
Jason, and thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate
He'll
your
take
vote.
the half vote.
I'll take it.
Or your half vote.
I like that.
Nice.
So you want to have the most votes, but if you are in the lead, there's no like having more does nothing, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's why you
So
have
if I
to
have like
measure
15
those votes
and you have
carefully.
0, it's like, why bother trying?
Why bother trying if you've got area majorities?
Yeah.
Which is why I chose my scrap, because
Yeah.
I did not want to just get scraps,
Yeah, keep going.
so to speak. Okay.
Almost there.
Then for each officer tile, you're going to check the player with the most influence on it. Both the spaces and what got pushed up. And then the player with the most is going to receive whatever followers based on the scoring condition. Everyone with the second most will get half the followers rounded down. Ties are friendly for both first and second place. Wow.
Everybody gets it.
Everybody.
That's amazing. Then they say throw this first tile in the box so it doesn't distract you any longer. And
they escalate as we go.
Yes.
All right.
So 14 becomes 17 becomes 21.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you have a leader in an area, in a community area, you take them back at this time.
It's good.
That's when that comes back. If they're out here, they come back for a dino attack. If they're out here, they come back after the vote.
Yeah.
Then you're going to collect the dice on the main board, and you're going to re-roll them. Then put all the available patrol cards to the bottom of the deck, and then put 2 new ones out. Reset each player's vote tracker back down to 0. As you mentioned, they're not good anymore. And then continue with the next player's turn as usual. Ending the game. At the end of the game, you might get a few more followers. Yeah. You're going to add up the number of walls and traps that each player has across all the defense areas. In descending order, whoever has the most walls and traps will score. In a 3-player game, looks like 5 followers. Second most will get 2. Third, again, 0. Here's a catch. If I've got a bunch and both of you have 0, you don't score second place because you got 0.
Fine.
So.
Okay.
Fine. Then add up the number of soldiers and possibly the leaders across all the defense areas. And the person with the most is going to get a similar number of awards, just like walls and traps.
I see.
You're going to get 1 follower for each food, scrap, story, 2 light soldiers, 1 heavy soldier, and pair of safeguard and valor on the player board or in any defense area or in an unfinished patrol card. You're going to get just 1 per pair of those.
Yeah, I see that.
Most followers wins. If multiple players tie, the winner is the player with the most total soldiers on the board, on the main board, the player board, and on unfinished patrols.
And that ends chapter 1 of the rule book.
And that ends.
9 more to go.
There's the catch.
9 more to go.
There's another rule book for. So, supposedly, episode 2 is entirely different. Supposedly, it's after you've got the dinosaur threat contained and you're building up your communities. So, now I've got the thoughts. Look, I'm the one talking, so they got.
Yes.
I've got my little thought balloon.
I love it.
And so you're going to build up your communities and everything, and this sort of worker placement at that point. And then it's going to be worker placement.
That's right.
And everything. So,
That's perfect.
So I'm actually. Is this thing turned on? There is an optional rule set that gives a deterministic version if you want. There are different, like I say, there are different leader abilities. You've got Adelita, Jack, Phoenix, and Keone. I think you can't be any more diverse than that.
Yeah.
It seems pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
These officer bonuses.
Yeah.
I should probably wait for Jason to get back before I explain them.
He lives it.
I'll tell you in a second.
It's points.
There's also a really cool section in the rule book that says, hey, I want story points. What are they for? Where can I get them? And so it's a really handy thing in the back of this guide. Hey, what are scraps? You can gain scraps by using the salvage effect, using the supply effect, triggering the protection zone's production. Scraps can be spent on placing multiple settlements, building walls, gaining heavy... It's really good.
There's a lot of iconography, but it's not that bad.
There is a lot of iconography, but it's
also on the back of the rules.
Yes, the iconography is all there. Behold.
In case you didn't know.
However, here's the catch. There are some places where the iconography on the board is really small.
It's true.
That's the only complaint I have. All the other things seem to be really easy to figure out. Like, if you're spending something, there's a little arrow, right?
Yeah.
And anything you get, it's like, it's clear what you get, anything that doesn't have that little down arrow on it.
But I do have to applaud the smaller board.
Yes, I agree.
Because boards these days are just so big, full of empty spaces and nothingness, but this actually fit into a decent size because there's so much other stuff happening around that I'm just like, if the board was any bigger, it would just be crazy.
I had to change the speech.
And we
are on the proper player count.
Yeah,
side of the
otherwise
board.
that would be sad.
That would be sad. 2 hours in, you're like, we're on the wrong side of the board.
Should we cut?
I think we should.
Okay, cool.
And we will talk about these abilities. If you want to know what they are,
we're gonna go through it.
Yeah, we're gonna go through it on our playthrough. They are in the rule book, so they're really easy to find. So despite the thickness of this rule book, I mean, we got through it. So
we did.
Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and
find the playthrough video.
Cut.
If you want to see the playthrough video. That's coming up next.
That's coming up next.
We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.